How's it going? First today, I want to start off with something called a mindset. And we travel all over the world, and I've probably in the last 10 years of ACN given one-on-one presentations over the years, probably about 7 or 8,000 times. Okay, and so we've met every single walk of life, from multi-millionaires, even a few billionaires, CEOs, heart surgeons, hotel and casino owners, engineers, doctors, attorneys, college students, and everyone in between. And how is it that we could show the exact same slides, the exact same information to a multi-millionaire, and in 7 minutes they're like, bro, sign me up, I'm in, this is a no-brainer. And we could show it to maybe a broke college student, and they're like, this sounds too good to be true, and it sounds like a scam. I mean, what's the difference? It's the exact same information. And it all comes down to the mindset. So what I wanted to do is compress the last over 22 years of my life of traveling around the world and being mentored by some mega successful people. And if I could put it into just a 15-20 minute training for you guys, then hopefully it'll be beneficial for you guys watching this video. So the first thing I want to talk to you guys about is getting advice. When I met one of my first mentors, who was a real estate mogul who owned hundreds of properties, he wasn't banking, he owned his own bank. He's not fly private jet, owns private jets. He taught us in Hawaii about 2 rules. Okay? He said there are only 2 rules for becoming wealthy. And the first one that he said is you gotta stop listening to broke people. Which may sound like common sense, but common sense is not common practice today, would you agree? And the second big rule he told us, he said always ask, where did you get your advice from? Okay? Because you wouldn't ask somebody who's like me how to be tall. Can't help you. Right? If you want medical advice, who would you ask? A doctor. If you wanted accounting advice, who would you ask? An accountant. So following and listening to people who are broke or financial destitute is probably not the best place to get your information if you want to become wealthy. Okay? And at a very young age, I had a very rare opportunity and a blessing, if you will, to meet some very successful people, okay? And some of you guys, as you're starting this industry, are gonna go out into your network, and some of your best friends and your direct family and people you love and truly care and respect are simply not gonna get it, okay? And you wanna pull your hair out. You wanna choke their neck like, don't you get it? The most successful people in the world are in our industry. Why don't you get it? And is it their fault? Absolutely not. Let's talk about some facts. We're talking about the 95% versus the 5% mentality. 95% of people are paycheck to paycheck lifestyle. 5% are financially independent. So keeping those same ratios, if I were to go out there and talk to 10 people, okay, and show them business opportunity of direct sales or network marketing, keeping the same ratios, 95-5, 95-5, I talked to 10 people, how many of them get it? The answer is correct. It's half a person. It's not even a whole person. It's half a person. Sometimes I don't even know if I'm talking to the right half. I'm thinking, the top half or the bottom half. Excuse me, sir, are you interested in making extra money outside of what you do? So how many people do we have to talk to, right? Let's say I talk to 20 people. Now, statistically keeping those ratios, how many of them get it? Like right there on the spot, oh my God, this is it. So a lot of times when we're showing this opportunity to a whole room full of people, if I have 20 people in the room, by the time we finish the video, right? The video shows, one person in the room's like, here's my credit card, sign me up, I got it, I'm in. And we only keep talking for the other 19 people. Okay? So just know your ratios and have proper expectations. But here's one thing that my mentor taught me. He's a real big fan of Robert Kiyosaki. Have you guys heard of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Cash Flow Quadrant, Financial IQ? And he's always hammering us on something called the Cash Flow Quadrant, where there are only 4 ways to make money in the world. And the first quadrant is what you call the E or employee quadrant, okay? 95% of people work for somebody else. And although you can become wealthy in this category, it is by far the hardest category to become wealthy in. Why? Because of taxes. My mentor said if you live in a W-2 world, that stands for you work twice as hard. And here's the other problem, is that we also live in fear. Why do we live in fear? Because if you don't show up for work on time, your boss will fire you, take away your paycheck, take away your benefits. You can't pay your mortgage, you can't feed your kids. So when you're late for work, you start diving through traffic, hurrying, your heart's beating, right? And we always feel like somebody's on time. Also, they're holding us hostage because of our paycheck. Okay, so we have also no energy. And we have no time because we're already working 40 hours a week or more, plus getting ready and going to and from work. Well, some people get sick and tired, and they said enough is enough. If you want something done right, you do it what? Yourself. So they move on to what we call the S quadrant, or the small business owner, whether they cut hair or they're a realtor or a travel agent. Except now, you don't work 40 hours a week, you work 70 to 90 to 100 hours a week or more, right? Anyone that's a small business owner, like myself, I had a small restaurant, I was working over 70 hours a week, 4:30 in the morning. 103 temperature, still gotta work. Threw out my back, still gotta work. Almost cut off my finger in a restaurant, still gotta work, because there's nobody there to cover you. In fact, I thought I owned a business, but the business owned me. S also stands for specialists, okay? Now, the whole point is not to be on this side of the category, but to graduate over to this side of the category. B stands for big business owner, where you have, say, 500 or more employees, like a Microsoft or an IBM, okay? The problem with the B business quadrant is, although you can make millions of dollars, it normally takes millions and millions of dollars to play here. And if you screw up, and this is the land of the sharks, this is the land of the people that will shoot and kill you. The competition will eat you up, gone or be gone, okay? And if you lose out, what do you lose? Millions of dollars. So most people don't have the time, the energy, the knowledge, the resource, or the means to go open a big business. Why does Robert Kiyosaki call multi-level marketing or network marketing the perfect business, or the business of the 21st century? Because for less than $1,000 or so, you can get into the B business quadrant, have B business mentors and experience, and grow a big business that's global, that makes money in multiple currencies and multiple time zones, and you don't have to have millions and millions of dollars. And of course, one day we want to make money in all of these quadrants, and one day become the I, the investor, where money begets money itself, and we can start creating other golden gooses. And having multiple streams of income, multiple resources, okay, or profit centers, if you will, is obviously a strategy of the wealthy, okay? So let me talk to you guys about two squares that are the most important things to understand, that if you to pay attention to for the next few minutes of time, this will make all the sense in the world to you. If you get this, you will become wealthy. And if you don't get this right now, you will struggle and work hard for the rest of your life. No pressure. No pressure. Okay? So my mentor taught me that there are two boxes. Okay? And the first one is very simple. It was called income less expenses, and assets less liabilities. Now, when we were born and raised, when I was growing up, I don't know about you, but my mom and dad said, go to school. You better study hard so you can get good grades. And you got to get good grades, Tommy, so you can get into a good college. And you got to get into a good college so you can get a good degree. And you're going to start off at the bottom of a big company, and you're going to work your way to the top of that pyramid deal. How many of you guys got sold on that lie? I mean, plan. That got beat into me with a stick. And what's funny is most of us go out there into the job market, and we finally land a job at Microsoft starting at $74,000 a year with room to move up. Okay? And right off the bat, your favorite uncle, Uncle Sam, comes and says, give me my pound of flesh, right? And out comes the taxes. And if that ain't enough, here comes your lifestyle. Because if you ask the average person, right, how do you become wealthy in America, right? How do you become rich? Well, even after your expenses, and I'm talking rent, mortgage, car payment, insurance, food, your cell phone, your TV, your internet, church tithing, entertainment, and all these things that we have expenses. Even after all of that, you ask your or somebody in America, the average person, how do you become rich? Well, they're going to tell you a bunch of old adages. The first thing they're going to say is you better save money. How many of you guys heard that before? Save money is losing money. Okay? If you had $100,000 and you put it in the bank for 1 year, the amount of interest that you could make, or on a CD, which is a joke today, is far less than what you have lost in inflation. You know, we were just at the Hawaii Health Summit talking to a multi-millionaire named Nick Haley. This guy finished high school in his 13, graduated college at 17, 18, millionaire by 21, multi-millionaire by age 23. Okay, ate lunch on the bow of the Titanic with James Cameron, flew into space with the Russian Space Center, climbed Mount Everest. I mean, this guy's what you call the trillionaire. Google him. He told us the magic number. He said, if you are not making 9% on your money every year, you're losing money. That's break even, 9%. And that should scare the bejesus out of you. Because to make even residual income of 9%, way back in the day, maybe if you had $1 million cash in the bank, you could live off that interest. How many of you guys remember that? Today, so good luck. Okay? But saving money, that's losing money. Well, maybe they're going to tell you, hey, you better lower your expenses. Be frugal. Well, guys, my mentor said, why do you want to lower your expenses? That's your life. Small expensive, crappy life. Big expenses, nice life. You want a Mercedes-Benz? $1,500 a month. You can drive a 1982 Toyota Corolla with the rust holding hands. How safe is that? So can you put a price on health? You want organic food? That's expensive. You want to eat McDonald's every day? You could. 99 cents Jack in the Box menu, go get them. But how if you ate that every day for 20 years, how's your health? So saving money only goes so far. Lowering your expenses, guys, that's your lifestyle. Or some people say, hey, Tommy, you just got to marry somebody rich. And that's a very popular sport, which we know doesn't work. Or maybe you got to get lucky and win the lottery. Or somebody rich uncle, you have a great descendant that owns a castle and they die and all of a sudden you made $10 million. And I got a couple of friends like that, but good luck trying to wish. That never happened in my family. So we all know to dismiss this. Any multimillionaire, billionaire, Robert Kiyosaki will dismiss this. See, in the beginning he says you just got to keep your expenses less than what you make. Okay? And it is the leftover money that comes out. It's called WC, or working capital. Okay? And it might be $5. It might be $50. It might be $100 left over. But whatever you do with that money is the absolute key to becoming wealthy. You gotta start somewhere. Okay? I was not at that point. I was at the point where I had too much month left over at the end of the money. How many of you guys remember the days when you finally started working in the world and you would get your paycheck, you endorse it, you deposit it, poof, it's gone. Paid on Friday, broke by Friday night. You guys know what that feels like? That was me. But what we got to do, my mentor said, is add working capital to something called SE, sweat equity. And you need to put hard work and whatever money you got left over and build something called an asset. Now, what is an asset? This is a big error in America because most people, when it comes to the asset, the first thing they say, my house. My house is an asset. Real estate can be an amazing asset. However, if the bank owns your house and you have a mortgage, that is not an asset. What is it? It's a liability. The basic layman's terms of an asset is something that adds money to your bank account every month without you doing nothing. A liability is something that subtracts money from your bank account without you doing nothing. How about kids? Asset or liability? Liability. Is a house an asset or liability? If it's positive cash flow, it's paid off. You don't live in your house. Somebody's paying you rent. It covers the mortgage and then some. It is an asset. And then it could flood or a hurricane and it could quickly turn into a what? A liability. Okay? Now, so many people got tricked when they were growing up. Boy meets girl, fall in love, move in together. Now they got 2 income, 1 rent. So they start stockpiling money, get married. They're so happy when they put their 10% down on a first-time homeowner's what? Mortgage. Oh, honey, we're going to be homeowners. Little do they know the scam of what they're signing. Mortgage. Mort, Latin root, mortality, to die. Gage, engage, to participate in. A mortgage is a death contract. It means to pay until you die. You don't believe me? Google it. French root means to pay until the end. Why is it in the early 1900s only had 12-year fixed mortgage? Because the average life expectancy was 45 years old. Today people are living to 80 to 83 years old. So we have 30, now 40, even 50-year fixed mortgage because of medical science. So how come people are so happy when they're signing their life away? And so what a mortgage is, you know what I mean? It's called barbed wire fence. Putting 10-foot walls up over this employee quadrant. Why? You're now trapped. You have to, for the next 30 years of your life, pay the majority of your income to paying off that mortgage. Your income wasn't much, but it was enough to pay the mortgage. If you lose your job, it's only a matter of 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months goes by, and what happens? You lose your house. So a mortgage is a trap, and attached to that mortgage is, you gotta have a house, you got a garage, you gotta buy furniture, you buy that nice TV at Best Buy, yeah, let's put it on layaway. You guys with me on that one? And it's a trap, it's the credit trap, okay? So, why do we have to build an asset? What is an asset? Something that brings customers every month. Well, how about ACN? Is ACN an asset or liability? If you get a customer in ACN, how often do they pay their cell phone bill? Every month. How often do they pay their TV bill? Every month. How often do they pay their internet bill? Every month. Gas or electricity? Every month. See, Robert Kiyosaki likes to talk something about the bucket story. You guys ever heard a bucket story? If you didn't, check this out. He talks about this village. And this village was 10 miles away from its water source. 10 miles. And so the villagers were sick and tired of going back and forth from the village to the river to get their water to wash clothes and cook food with. So they said, this is ridiculous. Let's just hire 2 people, give out 2 bids to handle the water. We'll pay them. They'll take care of the water. So 2 guys won the bid. The first guy immediately goes out and buys some stainless steel buckets, and he puts them on the stick. You know what I'm talking about? And he starts walking back and forth and filling the village well with water, and he's selling the thing for cash. Okay? And he's making money. The second guy disappeared for 1 whole year. 1 year he's gone. And this guy's like, huh? What the heck? Where did he go? He's got a monopoly. He can charge whatever he wants. He's making money hand over fist. People gotta have water. Buys a nice house. And he's like, this guy's an idiot. 1 year later, the guy comes back. He's like, hey, where were you? He says, well, I had this idea. And I wanted to create a 10-mile stainless steel pipeline with a pump on it so that I could get water 24 hours a day. But I don't have any money. So I have to go make a business plan. It took me months. Then I have to find investors. Then we have to go buy the land. Then we have to get the license and permits. And anyway, we're just starting now. And the guy's like, you're an idiot. I've been making money for a whole year, hand over fist. I bought a house already. You didn't make $1. You spent money. And then the guy starts building the pipeline. And it takes another year to build the pipeline. And every time this guy passes him, which is along the same path, he's like, idiot, dummy, I'm making money, you're spending money, delusional. What happens the day the guy reaches the river? Turns on the pipe. Boom! He's pumping water 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. His water is cleaner and cheaper. So this guy immediately has to drop his prices to 20%, buy lids for his buckets, start carrying buckets 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, on shifts. Even his 2 sons had to start carrying buckets just to make ends meet. And when his sons went off to college, he said, hurry home, boys, because one day this business is going to be all yours. And for some reason, they never came back home. And this guy died stressed out early, and so we're back, alone. And this guy died in his castle with his family and lived an unbelievable life. Do you guys get the story? My mentor said, my question to you is, who gave you your advice? Financial advice. Well, most of us get it from my mom and dad. I love my mom and dad to death. Here's the problem. They're not multimillionaires. Well, where did they get that? They just gave me the best advice they knew how. But where did my mom and dad get their advice? From their mom and dad. My grandparents. I love my grandparents to death. Here's the problem. They're not multimillionaires. So all we do is, most people, when you get their advice, they just giving you the best advice they know how. There's nothing wrong with that. But the same advice that worked in the 1930s, 40s, and 50s does not work in 2015. Would you agree? Okay? So it's nothing against personally. Ask yourself, did your parents teach you how to carry buckets and work hard? Or did your parents teach you how to set up pipelines? So what we got to do is build an ACN business, because every time you get an ACN customer, is that money that you don't have to make every month. It might be 50 cents, might be $1, might be $5. And you just start adding up and building your customer base, putting time and sweat equity, building your assets. Ladies and gentlemen, what happens today when your assets outweigh your liabilities? What pops out? Money! What is this money called? Income! Where does income go? Cha-ching! Now you don't make 74 grand a year. You make $84,000 a year, but your expenses are the same. So what pops out? More working capital. What do? Save it? What do? Increase your expenses? What do? You put more into ACN. Build more customers. Pa-ching! Whoop! Now you make $112,000 a year. Same expenses. More money. Build more ACN. Cha-ching! Whoop! Now you make $200,000 a year. Okay, now it's time to buy a Mercedes. You guys with me? If you play this game like Monopoly over and over again, you will get richer and richer and richer and richer every single month. If you ever have more liabilities than assets, or you spend more money than you make, or you don't even track this stuff, you will struggle for the rest of your life. And when I saw this, it was revolutionary to me. See, one of my mentors got trained by a guy named Bill Bartman. Bill Bartman, you go research him, top 400 on Forbes magazine. This guy is a multi-billionaire. And he taught one of my best buddies that there are only 3 things that billionaires look for. 3 things. You want to know what they are? He says if it doesn't have one or all of these 3, not interested. If it has one or all 3, interested. The first one's called UVA. Undervalued asset. An undervalued asset is like something like real estate. $1 million house. We can buy it for $500,000. Sell it for 750 grand. Is that an undervalued asset? Yep. How about a business? Starbucks is making 150 grand a year, or 100 grand a year to be easy with math. It's got a 5-year lease. Looks like nothing's going to jeopardize that. You could buy the business for 250K. Interested, undervalued asset. The second thing he talked about, it's got to be residual. What can we do today put time, energy, effort, money, sweat equity into, pay now, that will keep paying us over and over again multiple times in the future? That's residual income. And the last one, it's called compounding. What is compounding? Einstein calls it like the 8th wonder of the world. When you have compounding interest, or things like that multiply, 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 and grow, like bacteria. Right? Guys, let's take a look at ACN business. The ACN business at $399 right now, it's actually $499, but we had $399 for the next few months. Is that pretty cool? Is that an undervalued asset? Buying your own business, you can't even buy a nice pair of shoes for $399, right? Is it residual? It does not get more residual than cell phones, gas, electricity, and merchant service credit cards. Is it compounding? 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 3, 6, 9, 12. Guys, ACN is not 1. It's not 2. It's all 3. It is a triple play. And you wonder why we have multi-millionaires and CEOs and hospital owners and casino owners jumping in ACN. See, the difference is called the content versus the context. Some of you guys are wondering why your friends and family simply don't get it. And I'm here to tell you that the biggest advantage of joining ACN or network marketing company you're in is not buying the products, is not saving some money on some essential services. It is the network that you will grow, the education that you will receive. See, ACN is a personal development program with a compensation plan attached to it. It's a whole lot. And if you dump all of this information onto somebody's tiny little context that they were not born and raised Would you guys agree that Donald Trump and Robert Kiyosaki and Warren Buffett and Bill Gates talk about different things at their breakfast and lunch and dinner table than you and I did when we were growing up? Of course! Their parents taught them how to be rich. It's a difference in mentality. When I was growing up, we need to make more money. I think, wow, we need to go out and get a part-time job. But wealthy people, when they need to raise more capital, they say, hey, we need to go open a part-time business. There's a difference in mentality. So if you showed somebody this video, this little short training, and they're like, network marketing, pyramid deal, I don't know about that. But they actually took an honest to God look, what would happen to their context? Don't you think it would grow just a little bit and say, hey, wait a minute, I don't make residual income. I am not leveraging in any way. And I have more liabilities and assets, and my expenses is way out over of my income. So I need to increase my income, and I need to increase my assets. How do I do that? You've got the answer. So I hope that this video helped you guys out, and I hope that this mindset helped you guys out. Aloha. I guess it's that. Okay?